Well, what's going on, everybody out there in YouTube land? C1122 Wingnut Radio out here for Anarchy Television. And I'm just doing a simple little stitch project on my shoe patcher. This is my Chinese shoe patcher that I've done. I haven't done a video on this in a while. And matter of fact, just recently I got a comment on one of my old videos and kind of inspired me to do another video on it. And I've done a couple of other stuff. I haven't done that table part that I really wanted to do. I haven't done that yet. I need to actually sit down and do that one of these days sometime soon. But I've done a couple of things. Now I've got an old juice bottle that I ended up using to put my thread in. And the way I got this set up, I can pop the thread out because I got the top and the bottom kind of disconnected, and I've got a little piece of wire in there to kind of give me a little bit more tension on the thread coming out of the bottle. And I've got one of these little LED lights. It's got a magnetic base and a little switch on it. You know, gives a little bit more light. I've got another one that I used from my Singer, but I've got it sitting back here. It's for like, I wanted to do something down there, but I've got another one right there for my little Singer. But haven't really done a whole lot to the thing. I mean, like I said, I added a couple more magnets to it to hang stuff off of. But anyway. Oh, and my feet. Now, this thing comes with some really jagged edges to grab onto stuff down here on the bottom. I kind of grinded those down a little bit better, a little bit more. And when I was working with leather, that was still digging into my leather and leaving marks. So what I did is I ended up putting like shrink tubing on the feet. I mean, it gives it, doesn't make leave marks on my leather, and but it still has enough grip to grab things. You know what I mean? I got all kinds of sawdust because I got to find a different place for this thing because, man, I'm creating sawdust like every fucking where, and I need to find a different place for this and this. So I'm not getting sawdust all over my all over my sewing machine and stuff. But I'm just going to make a stitch because I didn't want it to fail anymore. But there's this little spot. One of the loops on my pants was starting to rip off. So I'm just going to stitch it kind of back on there. And then when I got some more fabric, I kind of put a piece of fabric back there to kind of stitch all those holes back together. But I'm just going to make a simple stitch to keep this belt loop from pulling completely off of there and ripping off. So what I'm going to do, what I love about these machines is they got this 360 foot, so I really don't even have to like maneuver the project around. I can just move the foot back and forth to do that, and that's how you get that back stitch. Also, you just flip this thing around and go the opposite direction. It's one of the things I like about this machine too. Is like, it's got that walking foot, and it's also you know, a 360 spin around type of thing. And I haven't hooked a motor up to this thing yet, but eventually I'll hook a motor up to this thing. But I like having everything. I've even got my Singer, which is down there, with a hand crank on it. And eventually I'll put motors on both of them. I got a motor for that one, but I need to find a different belt so I can keep the hand crank on there, but I can have also the motor hooked up. But eventually I'm going to have to hook a motor up to this wheel too, so I can, you know, I don't want to have to hand crank it. But I like the option of having it hand crank because, you know, if the power ever go out, I can still sew. You know, it's one of them things. I kind of... So let's get started doing something here. Like I said, I'm just going to make a simple stitch. This is not going to be a long video. And hopefully I can get everything in camera. Like I said, I don't have a real good like tripod or anything. And here, like I said, I got to spin this around. I can get this little back stitch. Just give me some... make me a couple of passes, so I got a pretty good stitch here, and kind of a strong little stitch here. And that's about all I want to do to it. Now, for anybody that uses these machines, to get slack on this thing, the best way to do this thing is kind of get you some slack on that thing like that, and then you can pull your work out pretty easy. Like I said, I mean, when it comes down to these machines, they are so simple. And I think they're just like a copy of like the old Singer shoe patcher type machines. But they're a cheap Chinese knockoff. And they are definitely not really made like a like the old ones, man. I mean, you know, that's why I have had done so much modifications and customizations to this thing, because they're so easy to be. It's so easy to be done to, and you know, I enjoy this machine. I you know, I've used it for many different projects. I mean, I've been making wallets and stuff like that. So, you know, using it for leather work is pretty good. And little stitch jobs. Like I said, it doesn't look all that pretty, but you know, I don't know. I might have made that a little bit too. I did. I made that a little bit too. Matter of fact, I'm going to take that off and I'm going to redo that, because I don't know if my belt will go through that. I think about it. I'm going to redo that. You know, it's one of them things, man. You know, I was like, I'm not an expert at this stuff, and I'm just kind of doing what I, you know, but it ain't a big deal. I'll just move this up so I can get my belt through that loop. But I need to sew it back on here so like it won't tear off anymore. I didn't really think about that at the beginning. You know, it's one of them things, man, you know. Let's just do that over again. Let's see here. I need to stitch it right about where that stitch is, so I got more of a belt loop. So let me redo that. Let me redo that. All right, let's do it that way. All right, you know, and this is another thing too. I've noticed when it comes down to these machines, when you do this, when you're wanting to start it off, a lot of times, man, you know, with a regular machine, you know, you put the foot down and then you start. But on these, what I have found, best way to do it is drop your needle to start with where you're going to start, and then lower your foot down, and then you can go. I'm going to do a couple of little stitch right there, and I'm going to do a back stitch right there so I can lock it in there, a locking stitch. And then move it back. Let me just double check this thing before I go any further. Think about it. I think my belt will go through that pretty easy. Okay. I think I'm okay. And like I said, eventually I need to stitch up these holes. I need to get some fabric, kind of make like a little patch up the holes. Well, that loop's going to be a little tight compared to the rest of them, but that'll be fine. I just wanted something that it won't keep ripping more off of that. I've got a couple more. Now, it's not on this pair of pants. Matter of fact, it's on another pair of pants, but I've got a couple of these Velcro patches that are starting to come on, undone because the stitching is starting to come off. So I got to redo those and resew all these Velcro patches on. Let me just make sure all of these are still. I think they're all okay on this one. There's another pair of pants where they were kind of really getting to the point where they were starting to come off. So yeah. But anyway. Anyway. Since so this is another thing too. I ended up taking some C clamps and clamping this to the table so it's not moving or anything like that. It's kind of like rock solid onto this table. I'm not sure. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I might do something different when it comes down to this base and all that. I'm not sure yet. And I ended up using one of these clear little boxes, put some magnets in it, and it's got all the like knickknacks, and it's got magnets in it, so so it stays. Since everything's metal on this thing, man, pretty much is like, there's magnetic stuff. If you ever wanted to do stuff, man, it just works fine. And like I said, this is just a piece of sheet metal that I put on here instead of the shoe patcher, which is what is that thing? Oh yeah. This is the piece that comes on the shoe patcher part. It sits like that. So I mean, didn't have this big flat, space and stuff like that. So I just took that off and made this piece of sheet metal, or actually stainless steel, piece of stainless steel. Kind of give me a little bit more workspace, work surface, flat spot. And what I did is I just kind of modified it a little bit. Like I said, I put a little cutout right here, so when I open it up, I can get to my bobbin. And so when I want to thread my bobbin, like I can pull the bobbin in and out. I got the thread right here. I just pull it down like that, put it like that, and then let's see, come on. I can pull come on, get out there. Yeah. I wanted to be a pain in the ass for a second there. See, this is what happens to me, it's like, some things don't always work out just right. Oh, shit. Oh, it's probably a good thing, man. It's like my bobbin was actually out of thread. Look at that. My bobbin was out of thread. So, it gives me the opportunity to show you how I thread my bobbin. I think I've showed this to you guys before. These things did not have where did I put that thing? I dropped something. Oh, there it is. These bobbins did not have any holes like that right there. So what I did is I drilled holes on both sides of the bobbin. And then when I put it on the bobbin threader, like that, and then I thread my bobbin. What I'll do is I'll just take that thread, come through that hole, and kind of hold it a little bit and get it started. Come here. You're running away from me. It's running away from me. I definitely want to do something different, a different kind of way of doing this bobbin threading. But this works. This works for now anyway. Get some more light in there so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just kind of guiding the thread at the moment, you know, back and forth so I can get that thread on that bobbin a little even. Come on. It jumped, but that's okay. I think I got enough on it right now. I got enough on it for right now. And like I said, you know, this little tag in right there, I'll just cut that off. You know, that was to get it started, really. All right. All right, and these things, I don't know if you see that, but you see how it's like the thread is going like that, you know, it comes off and goes on it like that. You kind of have to put the thread in there like that. Oh, wait a minute. Shit, I got to put it in there. I got to thread it through all that. What am I doing? I'm getting ahead of myself. I got to put that into this. Into the dish. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to that first hole. because it's been giving me the tension I kind of like. And then dang. Pull it through. There we go. And then drop this bad boy back in like that. And that should be good. Now I got to re-thread this thing. All right. All right, I gotta go through that tensioner. I gotta go through that tensioner, come up through there, and then thread it. Come on now. Get in the hole. Okay. I got that through there. So it comes down through that little guide, comes through here to the tensioner, comes up through that hole and up through that hole. And I gotta thread this little wire through the needle bar and have that come up, and that'll grab my thread right there, and then pull that down. That'll pull my thread down here. Get my little needle threader thing. Push that through. And that'll thread my needle. Give me some more slack. All right, and if everything works good, this thing should just pull that thread right up from the bobbin. There we go. Look at that. All right, now I've got both those threads threaded and ready to go and start again. And like I said, I'm going to do something. I just haven't done anything. I got to do something better on this. So this is works better. It's just not. I don't like this flimsy sheet metal. I want to do something better than that. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm working on it. And like I said, I got to find somewhere else for all this damn sander, because I got sawdust all over this fucking thing, which I don't really want. But anyway, I like these little LED lights, man. It's got like that that little arm, and it's got like this magnetic base on it, so I can just put that magnetic base pretty much right there, and got my light right over my work spot. Got a little on-off switch on it. But anyway, this is my shoe patcher. The 1122 Wingnut Radio out here for Anarchy Television back out.